Hello and welcome to the It's Not Always Dark podcast. We're your host, Kieran.
And me, Erin.
Welcome back. Now, Erin, what's your sign?
I'm a Gemini. I've told you my time of years. I went to try and do a line there and it didn't work. I wanted it to be like in that song.
So I'm a Pisces. I honestly, I feel like we said that we were going to go into this and we'd have like a discussion on how we feel about astrology. And I think that, honestly, just getting straight down to that is probably where we begin today. Because I don't know how you feel personally. Like, I feel like we've maybe discussed it once in passing, but I feel like astrology is a very interesting topic because I do believe in this in-depth discussion about different aspects of the universe affecting how we are as people, because we all entered the universe at a different point, you know?
Yeah.
So I completely can see why we're about to go and talk about like the different planets of the world and how they affect us. I see it. I do see it for us. Like, we are just part of an ecosystem way larger than us. So if we were to act as though these like different planets have no sway on our control as people, because like the sun affects us, you know? Like, I feel like shit if I don't get enough sun for the day. Could you imagine what like Pluto's doing to me? Sabotaging me from a... Pluto's my inner saboteur. How do you feel like on a base level?
I do get that whole, I enjoy astrology. I don't know, like, I'm not very in detail. Like, I literally know, like, base level, like, I'm a Gemini and that's what I'll look at in the back of the newspaper or whatever. I am very of the mindset, like, I can enjoy something and know that it's not really, it doesn't need to be factual. I don't need to be proved anything. I'm not like making big moral decisions based upon what, my star sign tells me. I'm just like, I enjoy the little bit of guidance that I get through that. I like knowing, like, waking up and being like, you're gonna have a good day, and I'm like, do you know what? Yeah, I am gonna have a good day. And then, like, I do my angel cards, which is like kind of like tarot cards, but it's more like guidance based, and it's quite a like positive space.
I remember you telling me about these before. They sound very fun.
Yeah, and like, I don't do readings for other people or whatever. It's just something, it's like part of my self-care routine where I just sort of like, if I'm feeling a bit stressed out and I don't really know what to do about a situation, like, they all have like pretty like nice basic messages that, like, the cynics can tell you that you can conform to fit whatever you want them to say, and that's true.
But what's the harm in that?
Sometimes I just need it. Like I have been told that chocolate isn't necessarily good for me, but sometimes,
you
often,
just need a little bar.
I'm gonna eat it a lot. Like, it's. I don't think there really necessarily has to always be reason. Like,
if you were to catch Erin inside like the chocolate factory with like a straw just in that fountain, no, you didn't.
Oh, yeah, that's accurate sights. I've been to a chocolate factory before, and it was one of the best experiences. I've been twice actually to the same one in Australia.
Not just once, but twice. That's dedication. Yeah. I've never been to a chocolate factory. I'm still waiting on a golden ticket, to be fair.
It was a highlight of my life to this day. I have a mug that says "addicted to chocolate" on it, which upon reflection probably is a bit insensitive to people with genuine addictions and should probably like
no, it's not. It's not meant to be like that. You know, I feel like, yes, we have to be very considerate of other people with their addictions, but to be addicted to something is a thing. Like, it affects everyone on like a microscopic level or like on a huge level. It depends. I just find it funny that you have a mock that says a mock. You have a mug that says that you're addicted to chocolate, and I am a mug that's addicted to chocolate. So everything works out.
Work out like that. Clearly, the universe is working in ways here. It's working in ways. It's true.
100%. I think about astrology to me, even though, like you were saying, I'll never let astrology be one of those things that like I read it and I'm like, I'm changing everything about my life tomorrow because my horoscope told me to. I think about it like it's like another form of affirmation. It's just using some sort of weird astrology, like sciencey type thing to like try and explain why it is that we're being affected. Um, but the reason why we've decided today we're doing an astrology podcast is because Snapchat happened to update with like a brand new feature. So for those of you who might be just going to check your Snapchat to join in, please do. If you click on your Bitmoji, right beside like your name, you'll find the little horoscope sign, and then it's like highlighted in purple.
Yeah, because it was there before. It was just
Mhm.
it wasn't a clicky button, as
Yeah, it
I've
wasn't a
just
button.
discovered because I've done the update so that I can join in on this with Kieran.
You got up to date. That's what we want. So like when you click on the button, it'll ask you like a couple of questions about like the date of your birth and like the time of your birth. The timing's important because I mean the planets in the world, they rotate small like amounts, but you could be just born at a time where like say Mercury was in your region, but just slightly left it like a minute after. You'll be a new planet now. So there are things going into this that make sense to me. Um, we've already put in our information, so I think that
Yeah, so
we've decided we're going to do like a back and forth format going through each of the options because there's quite a few. Um, we'll explain what it is that they mean for those of you who maybe don't care much about astrology. Fair. I wouldn't advise everyone do it, but I also would
yeah.
say have fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot about this that I don't actually understand because this is
Mhm.
like I do like when I read my horoscope, it's like I read the Gemini bit and that's it. So like
Mhm.
when we have all this like rising and sun, this is all very new and interesting to me because we have a
Oh.
whole solar system here.
If there's
Very, very
anyone
fun.
I mean, there's two people that at least we know in life. So like B and Jodie, two lovely gals. They have always known more about star signs than I do, and so especially Jodie. Jodie just knows it, and so she's like, these are not brand new to me because she's mentioned them before, but I wouldn't say I know them enough, like in enough detail, to be as confident about saying it as she is. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to like being able to break this all down. So, how about you start us off? Please tell us, what's your sun sign?
So my sun is in Gemini, a fun
Hmm, a
place.
little fun spot.
Yeah.
So, the sun sign represents individuality. We should probably start by saying that. But what is
Mm-hmm.
it that's given as your like description for Gemini in the sun sign?
So it says playful, expressive, and curious. My qualities are air, yang, and mutable. It says your mind moves at the speed of light, and you're always absorbing ideas and information from the world around you,
Mhm.
translating them into your own unique concepts.
Ooh, I'm into it.
Very fun. Yeah, and then like there's a
I'd
bit
say
where you
that
can
fits you.
there's a bit that you can scroll down and it has like a couple more paragraphs, but
Hmm. Is
that
there
feels like a
anything I've
lot
made?
to read out.
The one thing it says in that little description extra, it says the sun represents what's exciting and vibrant about us. And what you've just said, I would say, is what's exciting and vibrant about you as a person to me. Like it
I'm
just feels
quite
very
porous.
fitting. Yes,
I'm like a
yes.
sponge. Yeah.
You absorb. And you also, yeah, you absorb a lot and you give a lot out. Like you're very a sponge.
Yeah.
Love that.
I bel
Um,
that's I've made that fit me. Here we go. What about
mhm.
yourself?
So my sun is also my like base sign. I'm in Pisces. I think no, I'm not gonna make a statement. I'm just gonna be like, I think your
Let's
sun
not
sign's
say things we don't
always
know
the.
are true. Yeah.
I was gonna be like, your sun sign's always the one that your like your base sign is, but I don't think that's accurate. So for me as a Pisces, it says that I'm imaginative, creative, and giving. My qualities are water, yin, and I'm mutable. Uh, the brief paragraph they like to give us is that artistic, dreamy, and intuitive, you're creative and kind, tending to see the world through rose-colored glasses. I had like a solid period of life where I solely listened to Edith Piaf's and Lady Gaga's cover of La Vie en Rose because I just I'm not even kidding you. It was going through the second year of college. We were doing projects at the time, and I remember that I would be like on a FaceTime call with a friend, just constantly playing that song. She put up with it. She didn't have to. That was nice of her, but she didn't have to. I love that
No,
song
I
though.
think like the very the bit that is saying about you being very giving and open and I think
Mm,
that is like a defining factor of you. I think.
Oh, okay.
Your kindness, your
I
warmth.
really try. I think it's just about trying. Sometimes I
Yeah.
don't, but
I
I
know,
at
like
least try to.
this isn't like I'm not always open
No.
to information. Sometimes I'm like, honestly, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
I want to shut down right now. Please let me shut down.
Do 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 do. Just
So, what's your moon sign?
my moon sign is Cancer.
Oh,
Um,
I have like three cancers in like my immediate family. Like my dad and my two sisters are all cancers, and not like the star sign. I'm not calling them awful. No, they're all cancers, and then I'm the other water sign by association as the Pisces, and then my mum, she is Sagittarius, and she is the only fire sign. But as like we had I'll be honest, we had a little peek at the results before we sat down to record this today. And I noticed something at the end that I'll get back to it, but do tell me more. So you're a Cancer for your moon.
yeah, so meaning we are caring, dedicated, sensitive. So the moon is representing our emotions. I feel like I should have said that
Oh
first.
yes.
It says you care deeply about the people in your life and love playing the role of confidant and caretaker to your nearest and dearest. Which, like, yeah, I feel like I'm the
Yeah.
person. People tend to tell me like the deep stuff in their life. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I just maybe because I am quite open, people feel
People
safe
want to return.
talking
Yeah,
to
I
me.
would say so. Like we've had a good few deep discussions, and like we're only within like our first like year of really knowing each other, to be fair.
Hmm.
So when I really think about it in that sense, I've talked to you about a lot of like deep stuff that I haven't talked to like people that I've known for years.
Yeah, but then I also like I'm not very good at like surface level conversation, so I'm always like, "What's your deepest, darkest secret?" Like, I want to let's talk
I
about
want
the
to
real
get
stuff.
straight to the good stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do this like chit chat, small talk, like knick knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone crap. I want straight to the point. Like, would you murder? Like, I want to know that.
Yeah, like what would it take for you to murder?
Oh,
Big
100%.
questions.
Because look, we can all act the fool, but like, you never know if there's a point in life that you may have to pick up the knife and defense, and if you could live with it. Or
Cut
you
to
could.
this getting played in like a future trial where we're like
Oh
up
my
for murder and we're
god.
both sat here like, yeah, no, I
Fucking
would probably murder at some point.
the two of us are like sitting in like, I'm gonna say matching Juicy Couture like tracksuits side by side on a murder trial. Like
No.
the blood's still on our face, and we're like, I don't know about all
No, I
that.
didn't do it. I'm innocent. What do you mean?
What?
Oh, what's
What?
your moon?
So my moon is in Scorpio. Scorpio's considered, as far as I'm aware,
Oh,
Scorpio's the sexy sign. Am I
it's
like
stingy. It's
clickbait
fiery.
title?
It's I don't even know
I'm
if it's
sexy?
fire.
Question mark. So it says for Scorpio that they're intense, magnetic, and deep. I feel like
Yeah.
anyone that calls themselves deep, to be fair, I would never go up to someone and be like, "I'm deep." Like, shut the fuck up. So it says that you have a clear vision of what you want, and you'll use any means available to reach your goals or get the objective of your desire. I
Coming back to murder.
maybe we shouldn't have mentioned that. Okay, we're not going to be on trial. I'm not allowing it. We'll get away with it if it does come down to. Yes, I would say that upon reading this, I do think in some aspects that yes, I can be like this, but I don't think I have a clear vision. I think I have a blurry path, and I follow it until something comes into sight.
Well, yeah, because I'm trying to like see how this relates to your emotions. Like,
So, I mean, in the emotions department, it says that intense, passionate, and determined, you're a force to be reckoned with. Your emotions are strong, and others might see you as quite mysterious and alluring. Just be careful not to let drama and power struggles get the better of you. That is, I mean, I'm just gonna say that line there applies. I think everyone should like write that in their little journal tonight and go home with that. Like, don't get absorbed in it. It's not worth your time. Instead, it says to use your powers of perception and intuition to help others. And it says that I like to dig beneath the surface, and I crave intimacy in relationships. I'm very loyal. But when you decide to move on from certain relationships or situations, you may completely transform yourself and/or your life. Um, I'm gonna be
Oh.
honest. In the past, like year and a bit, I've really had like quite the transformation from where I was then to like where I am now. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is actually more accurate than it seemed on the surface. This is why I read more sections useful because I think it's like the determining factor after we can't like tell from a little tiny description.
Yeah, I've just like scrolled down on my one and it's like you may let your feelings get the best of you, and when that happens, you don't know quite how to talk about them clearly. It's important that you practice opening up to people you trust and
Hmm.
find healthy outlets for your emotions.
Hmm.
Then you can truly make the most of quality time with your crew.
Yes, the crew, the squadron.
Like, cut to me just letting my emotions bottle up.
It's
Such an attack. I
so
feel.
easy to do though.
I just like I was watching. There was a McFly documentary on last night on STV,
Okay.
and called All About Us.
I was gonna say McFlyin.
Oh no.
I wish.
And it was like them talking about like their journey of like breaking up and coming back together again.
Yes.
And honestly, like I clearly just had some like tears that were on the surface that were just needing something to like push them over the edge. Because cut to me like with a gin in hand, just like bubbling
Oh, she
over
had the
this
gin out
McFly
for this
documentary.
one.
Oh yeah, that's probably what pushed me over the edge. I'm just like they're singing,
Yeah.
they were singing "The Heart Never Lies," and I was like, yes, it fucking does.
Liar!
You're a liar. Oh dear.
I
We
feel like I
try.
need to try and watch this documentary now. If it's getting this much of a
Watch it be
visceral
completely
response.
like bland and like no one actually had any sort of emotional reaction, but it was just me.
Liar! So we're moving on to next our rising sign. So these signs are what influences our outer personality and how other people will perceive us and also how we interact with the world. So please tell us what's your rising sign?
Okay, this is quite interesting actually. So my rising sign is a Sagittarius, which means I'm bold, enthusiastic, and positive. When
Yes.
meeting people, you're outspoken, confident, and enthusiastic.
Hmm.
Um,
I wouldn't say outspoken immediately comes to mind, but I would say that enthusiastic and confident does come across. This is the good thing about having this type of discussion, like after having known each other for less than a year, is that
yeah.
I still remember quite vividly what it was like to meet you. Um, yeah, I wouldn't say outspoken because I don't think anyone's outspoken when they first start a new like because I mean we've
That was a
probably
job
met
though.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a job type thing. Um, how would you say in like a friendship setting do you think that would apply? Like if you were to have met like myself or
Um,
just anyone else, would you say you're outspoken then?
I think it really depends because I think I'm quite good at masking a lot of anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
which I wasn't aware of because I thought everyone knew. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought everyone could see how much I was freaking out, but I think I play a character of myself quite well. And
Yeah.
it's like it's been described to me as like a duck on water where it's sort of like I come across probably quite laid back,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like underneath the water my legs are like flapping frantically like so like it's not because it's difficult for me to comment on because I don't meet
Mm-hmm.
myself regularly. Like I just know like what internally I'm like panicking, but then the people that know
Mm-hmm.
me well, I definitely would say that I am like bold and enthusiastic and
Yes.
confident. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I
I
would
would
like to
say
meet
from
myself.
oh, like how nice would it be to see yourself just from someone else's point of view for just a moment, just to see what's going on.
Yeah, I
I
want
think
to know
that's
like what I'm like.
I think that's the interesting thing about like when I was like studying like television and like actually filming things and I was actually able to like see myself doing stuff because I forgot the camera was there. Like that's a weird experience to watch yourself like direct people around and like realize that you can now perceive yourself how they would have been perceiving you at the time. Oh, it's a whole thing.
Oh,
Oh, I was just gonna say, and like response to your one that because this is about how
mhm.
like we perceive you. I would agree
Yeah.
with how that description, like I think that fits you. The outspoken one I do think is the only one I'm like so far, but I think that's circumstantial. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it could have been
Yeah.
different if the environment was different. So my rising sign is in Leo. The little traits given to me are proud, courageous, and optimistic. Apparently, when meeting people, I'm confident, warm, and charismatic.
I believe that is you through and through.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I do think I come across like not well's not the word I want to use. I think I come across
No, you
the
can
way I
say
want
that.
to. I think I come across the way that I'm intending on coming across. And I think if someone like misinterprets that, then that's on you, boo. I'm not gonna
Mhm.
apologize for that. Like that's your perception. I like the description. I think it's. I mean, this is the thing is because we were sitting reading these, we're like, oh, these fit us. These fit us. They fit a lot of people,
Mhm.
but you know what? We're all kind of the same. Like we're not all that unique that we need like individual
No,
readings.
but we've done our disclaimer. We're here for a bit of fun.
We're here for a bit of fun. Yeah,
We're
I
not
definitely say that I feel like that fits me.
that would like definitely like because I think I literally said
I feel
that
like you
near the
have mentioned
start.
something about that to me. Oh, like on this pod?
Like
You
even
said it
in this
here?
podcast, like I'm pretty
Oh.
sure we could insert clip here of me saying something about you being like warm or like yeah.
Roll the tapes. Roll the tapes.
Roll the tapes.
We're moving on now to like our first like planet, which is quite
We're in the
exciting.
solar system officially. I mean,
NASA,
not that we
please
like
cut
the
us a
sun
check.
isn't, but
So we're going first into Mercury. So please tell us, Erin, what's your Mercury?
so it says here that Mercury is like shows our communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm in Taurus for this.
Oh, the
Which
grounded.
says that I am grounded, refined, and patient.
So I would like to
Hilarious.
say I don't have Taurus written down here. I was just going off of my immediate thought when I hear the word Taurus. So
I thought you were like literally had the same one as me in front of us, and I was like, oh, we'll just do
no,
this one together.
I
But
just said grounded and then you go grounded. I would
it
say
says
yeah.
here you're careful about how you express your thoughts and feelings. You don't like
Mm-hmm.
to be overly dramatic or wordy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm,
um
I think
I
you're
definitely have been described as over dramatic, but I am very cautious about expressing like big opinions. Even look at the start of this
yes.
where we're making disclaimers like we don't believe in this, but we kind of do, but we kind of don't.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm not big on like picking sides.
No, me either. I hate picking a
I'll
side.
always like hop my way around it. But what does it say here? It says it does say that when you're feeling creatively or artistically inspired, the romantic
Mhm.
side of your personality reveals itself, and you're able to
Oh.
express yourself quite beautifully in sophisticated and subtle ways. I
Oh.
think my
Demure.
um
I would agree with the like in a nice way the over dramatic part, but not in like a way where there's never a point that I don't want to have an over dramatic conversation with you because they are some of the most fun conversations to have. Like
I
there's
know,
nothing bad about that.
I think like in terms of like where this fits, I think in
Hmm.
terms of like baseline conversations with people I don't know very well, this is probably how I
Hmm.
would come across. But again,
Perhaps
the people that I feel more comfortable around with, I definitely
your
am
crew.
my drama queen self. But then I do feel like I have to disclaim myself as a drama queen
Hmm.
because of like I'm like if I make a joke about it first, then it's like
Yeah, you've beaten them to the punchline.
yeah.
No one can
So
come in and
maybe
be
it
like,
does like
"You're dramatic," because you'd be like, "I
yeah.
know." I think
I'm like
that's a good way
yes.
to be, though. I would say that's a really good way to be. Like, to just go into something and say what you're like to someone so that they know from the get go what you're going to be. I think that's important. And I wish more people could do that because some people, I think, try and act extremely different than themselves. And then
Mm-hmm.
you like meet them at another time and they're a different person and you're like, oh, this like the consistency levels are not there. So it gets real confusing.
Yeah. I definitely
Mm.
think like this one I don't necessarily like see for me unless I'm talking to like an
Hmm.
adult. Like this is like me in a
Yes.
job interview rather
Oh,
than
okay. I feel that.
like myself. yeah. What's the story in Kieran Mori?
Kitamori.
I wanted to.
um,
Oh.
so,
Oh.
my Mercury is in Aries. So the traits given for my communication skills are that I'm determined, brave, and impulsive. Looking at that word impulsive, I I think I say everything that comes to mind, to
Yeah.
the point where people would probably argue that they could do without a lot of it, but I'm not gonna stop.
You're never
It's,
getting rid of me.
it says you're a fierce truth teller and an inspiring leader. Truth teller. Now that's where I think I know that I tell a lot of white lies, like in situations where I
Cut to
just don't really
you.
want to. What was that?
I was gonna cut to you in the last podcast saying that you wrote that song to your mum, like
Roll the tapes. Roll
the
the
childhood one.
tapes.
Yeah.
No, I think I'd say maybe in this day and age I'm more of a truth teller now. But I suppose this is the
Yeah.
thing is we go off of like our entire life experiences and we can remember times in which we weren't doing this. So I think I'm gonna go off of this just saying that as of today, perhaps maybe I'm more of a fierce truth teller. But even then I still think I like to sidestep the truth and go to like the nice things. Because if
I
someone
think
wants to
that's
hear the
natural
nice
though.
stuff, that's what I want to do. When something's on your mind, you don't hold back. Your communication style is direct, simple, and outspoken. You're not one to beat around the bush and will come right out and say what you mean. People admire your honesty and no nonsense approach, but you can sometimes get into trouble for not taking other people's feelings into consideration. Consider how the things you say might affect others before blurting something out that might be hurtful or a little too blunt. Upon reading this description, I think I'm kind of disagreeing with it now. 'Cause I
No, I
don't.
definitely the first half of it where it
Mm-hmm.
was talking about like you being like super honest and like
Mm-hmm.
you just say the point because like there have been situations where like you have been honest with people
Mm-hmm.
in situations that I definitely would have bought like not said anything for months
Fair.
and like I definitely would not have had the guts to go about things the way that you do sometimes and I really
She's got
admire that in
nerve.
you. She's got nerve
I
and
don't know.
talent.
I think like I think sometimes it's I'd say from what you just said there, I'd agree with that, but I don't think I ever really say things that are hurtful. I think
Oh
I'm
no, no,
very
that's I don't agree
careful
with that
about
bit at
wording
all.
things. I like to try and make sure that what I'm saying isn't coming across in a negative light. So this is the thing. We've already disclaimed, so we don't have to worry about it being like we're settling on one or the other. I'm gonna say parts of it yes, parts of it no. And we're moving along in the solar system now to Venus. Ooh, love.
Ooh,
In fairness, it's
our
actually preferences.
preference.
So I believe this might have been the one that we share. I
So
mean,
it
we have a
says
couple.
Venus is the planet of priorities,
Okay.
beauty, love, and money.
Oh, yes. So, okay, yeah. Beauty, love, and money.
So I'm an Aries on this one.
I'm also an Aries on this one. So this is the
On
first
this
of a couple of ones that we happen to share.
I love that. Okay, so we are determined, brave, and impulsive.
There's a
I
lot of
believe that.
impulsive being pointed at me, and I've had impulsive now as two of my like descriptor traits, and I'm gonna say yes because
Yeah.
that's my life.
It says freedom and spontaneity are very important to you, and you avoid people and relationships that feel too managed or constricted. Oh, I see myself here.
Snapchat, you are calling a girl out.
Oh,
that
this
is
is
that is
like
kind of hard to read and like not take like
no,
to
because
heart.
I think we
It's
should read like the
the
bottom
further
part, like all
description.
of the bottom bit as well, because it's
Oh, I've
I've
not
had a
read the.
glance over it and
I'll
I
go in with
feel
this one.
very attacked.
So it says, instead, you tend to gravitate toward people who are outspoken and confident. You value originality and can be a trailblazer or a creative visionary in your field. Your ideal relationships offer a certain amount of space and freedom, which may mean you flake out on others from time to time, or conversely, get frustrated when people flake out on you. Committing only to things that truly interest you and then seeing them through will help you stay focused. I'd say yeah. Like I'd say at one point in life that would have been accurate for me. Like the flaky, I can flake out of a conversation quite easily, but that's just I don't know. Conversations are hard, and it's hard to keep yourself invested
But
in someone that maybe you don't want to talk to.
that's the thing. That's what it's saying at the bottom is like committing to the things that you're actually 100% game for.
Yeah, the stuff that like you've felt like you've looked at the foundations and you've decided I'm gonna build the house on top. Like it makes sense. But
Yeah,
yeah.
and I realize that now. It sounds as if at the start I was like, "Oh yeah, this is me. I value my originality and intend to be a trailblazer of a creative visionary in my field." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but that's quite a dramatic way of putting it. That's would be like
a
what I
real
would put on
dramatic way.
my CV."
I'm a creative visionary. I'm a trailblazer.
That's my new Instagram bio. Creative
Trailblazer
visionary.
and creative visionary. I mean, I would definitely say that, like, I think both of us value having our own, like, originality to how we approach art. Um, I definitely, like, I feel like I've seen a bit more of the content that you've made than you've seen of mine, but I know where you come from. Like, I see it, and like, there's originality to it, and it's not something I can compare to anyone else. Like, it's very you, and I like it. So keep
I
doing
think
it.
that also. Thank you so much. I think that just comes from also like having tried a bunch of different things and a different approaches, and that's very much like if anyone asks me anything about how to go about being creative, which is kind of like where the idea from this podcast came from, was like us sort
Yeah.
of having a look at different ways of being creative and how other people go about it. I very much have done a lot of playing in different
Yeah.
things, and then that's how you end up just picking like tiny bits and different ways of looking at things from all these different places, and that's how you sort of develop your own voice. So I'm like, originality is a very big claim that a lot of people would sort of guide you to not use. Like I know specifically like
Fair.
academically they don't really want you to use the word original because it's like,
what is original?
is anything original anymore,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But in terms of like your uniqueness and your view as a person, of course, like everything's going to be tailored to like the world that you live in, and no one's ever going to like really understand your circumstances completely.
What a well put way of wording that. A round of applause. That was so well done.
Thank you. Me taking my bows here, everyone.
Honestly, you could have just dropped the mic then and there. Like, take it off the stand, drop it on the floor, and we're done. We're done. That was amazing.
Very carefully place it down. We don't have that kind of money.
No, we don't.
We're back on furlough.
We're moving on to David Bowie's classic Life on Mars. So we're going into Mars now. So my Mars so does it switch things up a little bit on the
I was about to say I think you should go first on this one because I've just spoken for a while.
So my Mars is in Scorpio. We're back at Scorpio. I'm here again. I've been here before, so I'm not gonna read out the traits again. But basically it says that I'm apparently a powerhouse, and I know exactly how to get what I want. I don't know.
So Mars is motivation.
Yes. I find it an interesting description. Just I'm gonna go into depth a bit more and like read into it because from that alone, I don't know if I can really say much.
I don't see this for you.
No,
necessarily.
I don't either, so I'm happy that we're both on the same page. Sometimes you can be very low key and prefer to take care of things behind the scenes. Other times you're direct and bold and going for your goals. Either way, one thing's for sure. Whoever gets between you and the things you find most important in the world will have a powerful personality to contend with. You have a hard time losing or even coming in second. Okay, that. Oh, if only you knew like just how I like to play a lot of video games, and even coming in like if I'm in I'm in a game that has a first place. If I'm not in the first place, I am a little upset. And I will be upset about it for a good 10 minutes after losing. I'm a sore loser, and I think it's okay to admit that you're a sore loser and just to state that with people because, I think there's been relationships in life where I've been a sore loser, but I haven't disclosed this to the people, and then they're very taken aback by it and think that I'm actually like I hate them as people. I don't. I hate myself for losing the game, and I like to vocalize it. But I have worked a lot on just trying to reel it in and only like sort of share it with the people that I know also do the same thing, so we can both just like get the venting done with in the one session.
Yeah,
um
that's fair.
it says that your pride can get hurt when things don't go your way, probably. Try to be patient and forgiving with yourself and others. You admire people who are powerful, intense, and magnetic. That's an interesting ending point. But yeah, going off of that, I would say that this description feels a little bit more like what I could see myself in.
Yeah. What
About
does it say like for the qualities there? Like underneath where it says
so it's back to being intense, magnetic, and deep. Those are the same
oh.
ones. Which I think intense, like I am quite intense at times. I like to go forth with a lot of passion at things, and I think that that can be taken as quite intense. Yeah, I think going off of just this description though about like sometimes I'm direct and then other times I'm very low key. I think I'm more low key like to like maybe like 75% of the time, and then maybe like the other
Yeah.
25 left, that's when I can kick it up into gear, because I know when I'm in the situation that requires it, I'm not like quaking in my boots trying to figure out what's going on. Like I
Mhm.
do go straight and direct and do what I need to do. It's just I don't love being direct. I prefer being low key.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I definitely like feel like I see the more low key version of you
Yeah.
probably, but then like I don't we don't play games
That's
because
fair.
we
I wouldn't
shouldn't
want
come
you to
from
see
that.
me like that. I don't think I want anyone to see me like that.
But I'm like
I feel
the
like
thing
people
is,
in cars yelling at like people in traffic, going like they're just swearing and stuff. I'm not like swearing at anyone. I'm just like shit. I'm like shit. What was your Mars sign?
for Mars I'm back in Gemini.
Oh, back
Um,
again. Back in the home
but then
turf.
like I think the traits seem to have changed for me, which is what I asked you again because it
Oh.
now says that I'm playful, expressive, and curious, which
Oh.
which I would say
You
is
are.
yeah.
Yeah. You're
Um,
very playful. I think that that's one of my favorite traits about you, is just the fact that you're always willing to have a bit of fun and be playful with me.
mhm. It says I like read this wrong and thought it said multi-faced, and I was like, that's so rude.
That's
It
so
says
mean.
curious. I mean, it essentially probably means, but it says curious and multifaceted. You have
Mhm.
many different interests and always love to be on the go. And I would say that is
Very
100%
accurate. I feel like
accurate.
we had a conversation before the podcast where you quite literally told me that you were constantly on the go before lockdown. Like you
Yeah,
were on the go. That feels accurate.
I'm not. This is like lockdown's been really rough for me. Like
It must
a,
have been because I'm
I'm a
quite
proper
comfortable
busybody.
in
Like
these waters. These waters I find like I can swim in and I can like relax in, but I feel like some people who are used to not being in the water that have been plunged into it, they're not having a good time flailing.
yeah, I don't know. I like I've just always been a busy person. I always have places to be, or I like make places for myself to be because that's how like that's where I'm best emotionally.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I thrive when I'm busy. But it says
Hmm.
there's a bit about trying to do too much, and I'm like, yeah, I get that. Yeah, we've been there. We That's when the anxiety hits the hardest is
Yeah.
when we've stretched ourselves too thin. I think everyone does that though. It says naturally friendly, you enjoy meeting different people and getting to know the neighbours. You admire people who are communicative, intelligent, and social. And I would say that's accurate. I think if you looked at my friend group, I'm pretty amongst
They can hold a
the
conversation. That we'll say that.
yeah.
They can definitely hold a conversation.
I'm in it for a decent
Yeah, I
convo.
definitely agree with it though. I would agree with it. It's like the friendly approach and whatnot. Like that is just is who you are. Like you come across like that, even in the times where I think we both have anxiety. I think most people have
Mm-hmm.
anxiety on some level,
Yeah.
but it's like I've never even been able to notice like when you're anxious per se, except for like one time. But I'm apart from that and the whole
That was a dark day we just
but like honestly, I feel like you come across like very friendly to everyone that you talk to. Even if you don't particularly want the conversation with them, you still like you're friendly about it. I enjoy it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
now
That
let's
just brought up a memory.
Are we thinking of the same memory? I'm thinking
I'm
of.
assuming you mean like the time that I just completely froze and couldn't do anything for like I was there in body, but like I had left the building.
You checked
and
out.
everyone just had to sort of work around me because I just couldn't do anything anymore.
You came down to the lobby. You thanked the hotel staff for all their work. You thanked the housekeeper. Like you thanked everyone, and then you just said, "But I'm a head out now."
Oh, it was so embarrassing because like everyone was trying to help. We were basically at work and I couldn't. I got a bit flustered and then I didn't even thing is I didn't cry or anything. Like I didn't visibly have a panic attack or anything like that. I just like it was as if my spirit like ghosted out of my body and I just couldn't do anything anymore. So I was like just sort of standing in the corner.
You were that meme of Winnie the Pooh like leaving Winnie the Pooh's body and it was a ghost form. Like just floating up into the sky. I mean, to expand over to our next planet, we're going into Jupiter now, which is expansion.
Oh, it just says it's the luckiest and most generous planet.
So my Jupiter is in Aries. I have a couple of Aries, more than I thought I did.
Yeah, I think I'm heading into more Aries after this.
So it says that I'm determined, brave, and impulsive. Impulsive keeps coming up, and I'm really taking it.
But I think that's for both of us, really, though. That's a big feature.
Totally, and I think it's a nice way to be. Like, I'm always happier when I'm able to just. I like to do something then and there. It says that I have good luck when I tap into my confident, assertive, and direct side of my personality. I think you can say that for anyone though. Like if they tap into.
I think the times that I've seen you like absolutely thrive is when you've almost like you've taken on impulse and all of a sudden like really just like embraced yourself and asserted yourself in a completely friendly way. But like I think that's like the times that I've been like, oh damn.
Oh damn.
he's doing it. No, I think that's like a really like
thank you.
Good point in you. Yeah. What does it say further down?
So it says tap into your competitive energy and you can move mountains. Did I not just talk about my competitiveness? And anyway, since Jupiter spends about a year in each sign, many of the classmates and peers are likely to be assertive, enthusiastic too. That's interesting. So this is like before how we talked about the planets, like the timing of our birth being important is because obviously planets move at a certain pace. So Jupiter apparently seems to move really slow. That's a fun fact that I might keep in mind in case we ever end up in a trivia night, if there ever is such a thing.
It's super far out, isn't it? It's quite,
I think so, yeah.
We're getting like further and further away from the sun, away. So like they'll have more years per Earth year.
Interesting. It says that because classmates and peers are likely to be assertive, enthusiastic as well, that this might push me, to become my like best self, or I could end up getting competitive with others. The advice given here is focus on bringing innovative and fresh solutions to the problems in front of you rather than worrying about what others are doing. I would take that on. I feel like that's something, again, everyone should be taking this stuff on because I would totally advise that you try and focus on you. Because the more time you try and like spend thinking about other people that aren't worth your time, like, don't let them live rent free in your mind.
Yeah,
Charge them.
Even like the people that are worth your time, like there's no point directly comparing yourself to them because like as I said before, like you have your completely own personal unique experience of life and that's where their current path has led them. Like you don't know what's up for you coming soon. So comparison is the thief of joy.
Thief of joy. Oh, comparison, the thief of joy. I feel like that would be a really good like description for like an autobiography or like a self-help book. Is it? Yeah. This is another one of these times where I just don't know things.
Kieran repeating stuff back to Erin because we need to make a compilation.
Oh god, there's so much content for it to. I'm okay with it. I'm at peace. Where's your Jupiter, dear?
I'm in Pisces.
Welcome to my home turf. What's going on, girl?
So I am imaginative, creative, and giving in this sense to do with expansion. Yeah. It says, I have good luck when I tap into compassionate, creative, and spiritual side of my personality. It just says, in touch with your artistic and dreamy side, which magnifies your intuition and imagination a lot. Yeah, it just says like keeping track of like your dreams and thoughts and stuff. It's very about being creative actually.
Which is inherently like it is like it's so infused within your personality that like that is I see that for you.
Yeah, it's quite a big part of my identity. With the bit of, it says about since Jupiter spends about a year in each sign, many of your classmates and peers are likely to be very creative and sensitive. You inspire one another and are good listeners and helpers when you need a hand.
Yeah,
That's all it
slam
says.
dunk on that one. I'm gonna say, you know, you took the half court shot and swish swish bish.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think like essentially all it said is that I'm creative and spiritual, and it's not wrong, but a lot of
No.
people are. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say
but
it's
like it said,
yeah.
this one applies to various people because of the time it takes Jupiter
Mhm.
to travel around the world. Moving on, we're going to Saturn.
Let's go.
If you like it, you should have put a ring on it. And Saturn said, "I did."
I did. I have several.
I have several. So my Saturn is in Taurus.
Okay, so this is responsibility.
So I mean, Taurus is back again, showing that she's grounded, she's refined, and she's patient.
I
Patient.
believe that.
Some of the most valuable lessons you'll learn in life are related to finances and intimacy. I'm about the bands and the boys.
I mean,
Am I not? I'm saying this is a lifestyle. I didn't choose it. Saturn decided this for me.
yeah, this is out of my hands.
It's out of my hands, guys. Sorry, I'm just in it for the money and the boys. Restrictions, obligations, and authority are the domain of Saturn. You want to make money and be surrounded by the luxurious things in life, whether that's delicious food or beautiful art. You may become overly attached to people or material things, which can make you quite stubborn or possessive. I have a very like common trait as a person that a hobby of mine is just collecting things. And sometimes I will go out of my price range because I want it more than I have the money for it. So I feel like this concept of me just having a love for material things, it's there, but I would never say I've ever let it like affect other aspects of my life in a way that it really like if I'm buying something and it's a bit out of my price range, I'm only extending myself a little bit. I've never like extended myself to being like crippling debt. Like I don't care about money that
Yeah,
much.
I mean, like, I would never describe you as materialistic. It's not anything that came to mind at all
Oh,
when
okay,
I
that's
think of you.
good. It says that giving people in situations the space they need to evolve in their own time without overly fixating on the outcome of things will help you to be more flexible and ultimately creating the life you've always dreamed of having. That there is something I really am trying to take on like day by
Mhm.
day, is that everything needs to just happen the way it happens, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to force the circumstances anymore in life. I just want things to be the way they're going to be, and I will just continue to like go downstream and do what I need to do, you know?
Mhm.
I feel like that's pretty accurate. I'll take it. I
I,
will
I
take that
I
one.
get that very well.
How about your Saturn?
So in Saturn, I am
Hmm.
Aries. So we're
Oh,
back to being determined, brave, and impulsive,
yes,
which
yes,
is
yes.
yes, yes, yes. In terms of like my decision making and responsibility, it says that I learn some of my most valuable life lessons through trial and error. And if that
you
isn't,
you said that. Okay,
yeah.
roll the tape. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say it anymore because I feel like I've said roll the tapes 3 or 4 times in this pod, but like you quite literally just spoke to us about that.
It says, I'm brave and confident, but make sure that my enthusiasm doesn't overshadow my practical side. Being headstrong may not always translate to victories,
Hmm.
which is true. I
It's
think,
fair.
yeah. You may occasionally need to be more diplomatic and thoughtful about working with others. Striking the right balance between risk and reward will help
Mhm.
you decide which challenges are truly worth going after. Which harks back to something we discussed earlier, which was one of mine, that was like, oh, what was it? Like spiff, like only going for things that like you really feel passionate about.
Yes.
And like succeeding that way. It ends on like a little, it says you're innovative, original, and capable of achieving lasting success when you take a long-term approach and balance your needs with the needs of others, which I think is very applicable. Like I can be quite I want to say like I focus a lot on short-term goals because that's how I manage to get stuff done, and I don't really tend to do a lot of long-term planning. Hopefully,
it's hard
I don't know.
to long-term plan.
I want lasting success, you know?
Yeah.
I want success first, but like lasting success would be
something.
lovely.
100%.
I think that's like my mindset is so just like I want to like achieve something now, and I want the instant gratification. So like
yeah.
I don't know, probably need to think a bit more long term about stuff.
I feel like that's so many people though. Like I feel like that's an unfair thing to just put on yourself, because I think that ultimately we all struggle to think about a long-term goal unless you're someone who just like has it laid out for them. Like I think doctors have a real easy time of knowing what the goal is, because if you decide you're going to be a doctor, that path is very strict and you have to get all of the following things done to get to be a doctor, you know? But when you get into like the creative side of things, being long term is difficult because like I think you said before that we spend a lot of our time like shaping what our voice is going to be based on the experiences that we're having in a day-to-day like setting. So a lot of the time when I'm thinking about a long-term goal, I can't do that right now because I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'll know the goal when I'm there.
Like I think in my head, when you're creative and like you're doing a lot of project-based work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the longest term that you probably have is like end of project.
Yeah.
And then anything more than that is a bit more uncertain or like unspecific. So like yes, we have like long-term goals in terms of like I would like to be employed creatively.
Yes.
For like
Period.
in the future, ongoing. That's like an ongoing long-term goal. But that goal can only happen by having more short-term goals and like doing these little things,
achieving the short term to build toward a long term.
Like long term's like a consequence of your short-term choices.
Next up, we're moving into Uranus. Controversial name on that one. Anyway, so my Uranus is in Aquarius.
Me
so
too.
You love this for us, so we get to go in with the group approach now. So it says that for Uranus, it's the planet related to individuality, rebellion, in the future. So it's about your freedom as a person. It's how free you feel. Please tell us what our traits are.
Yeah, so it says we are unique, friendly, and independent. Yes.
Yeah.
We see the world in our own unique way and have unconventional talents and interests. And if that's not the entirety of this podcast so far, I'll eat my hat.
What? What hat?
It's a saying.
That's a saying?
But it's like a saying. Yeah.
Kieran and his lack of ability to understand a phrase.
Erin being an 80-year-old.
It says that so we're very independent and forward thinking. We care a lot about the relationships that may organize our life, whether that be like friends or just social groups as a whole. We have humanitarian values and always want to help those in need. You may even focus your work on making life better for others. Technology is another area where you may have special talents. You could even become a celebrated innovator. To some extent on technology. Yeah, the technology, but I was like, the fuck? I'd say
my music tech grades say otherwise.
My like just editing software grades would also say otherwise, but going off of the humanitarian value part, like I feel like that's something that we connect on quite well, is the fact that I think when you're friends with someone, you're friends with them for a lot of reasons, but like if you're able to like connect on where your like morals are, I think that's a different thing altogether. And that's where I think like your morals and humanitarian values, if you have those in your morals, you're sorted with people like-minded.
But I think it's also like I think I base my friendships a lot on like how people treat other people.
Yes.
And that's like friendships that I don't put effort into making last. It generally is because we don't share the same view of other people and how we go
Yeah.
about. And it's not to say that my way is the right way
No, it's
necessarily,
just your
but
way is your way.
it's what works for me, and it's how I choose to live and treat people. And yeah.
And more power to you for doing so.
And I'd say like you probably have the same sort of.
Yeah, I feel like I'd go pretty similar to me. Like I'd agree with you when you're saying that. Like I'm not saying I'm doing it the right way. I just am doing it the right way for me. And if that doesn't work for you, then the door's firmly behind you. Like
Yeah.
please see yourself out. We're moving on next to Neptune. So Neptune, I know this already. As a Pisces, Neptune is actually my like ruling planet. So I believe they say that this is apparently like my strongest force. Because of the way that, however, astrology works. I don't know. Neptune's my ruling planet. So I want to quickly actually check and just make sure that I can see what your ruling planet is.
I think it might be Mercury, but that could be a complete.
No, you're right. It is Mercury.
I can't even remember what my Mercury was.
Have a little glance back. I want to have a little reminder since so Mercury is about communication.
My Mercury was the Taurus one that we went. Oh, I don't know.
Very grand. Oh, that's maybe I'm not going to take this as seriously now because your one wasn't that.
But then, I mean, it's all subjective, isn't it?
Very subjective.
It's a little bit fun.
So Neptune is about spirituality. So again, Aquarius a second time here. Love it. So again,
we're firing through these end ones, guys.
So yeah, your creativity and imagination soar when you work with like-minded people in pursuit of goals that benefit everyone.
And here we are.
Here we are. Hey, look at us. Who would have thought? Me and you.
Us, we be here.
Let's see in more depth.
You have an intuitive understanding of technology and may even be a visionary when it comes to science, math, or whatever you're passionate about. Okay, we'll take whatever we're passionate about.
We'll go with whatever.
Yeah, science, math, and whatever. You can make significant breakthroughs when you set your mind to something. You have a natural sense of fairness and want all people and perspectives to be valued. But these lofty ideals may cause you to gloss over people's more unpredictable and irrational feelings, so try to be sensitive too.
I'm going to say straight up that I don't want everyone's perspective to be valued. There are some people who have like nasty perspectives that I wish would just die off. To put it bluntly, there are quite a few people in the world that are just spewing so much hate that I just wish they would maybe not have existed in the first place. But I don't create the universe, so I'd agree with though the trying to be like sensitive to people's feelings. I think that it's just being considerate because we're all the same thing. We're just dealing with it differently. So I'm not ever trying to come in and tell someone they're doing something wrong. I'm like, you're just not doing it the way I want to do it. So
yeah, I mean, but then like when people are being hurtful towards others, I would say, let's not.
Let's not. End it there.
Yeah,
we're moving on to a planet now who I don't know if I'm gonna listen to this one as much because Pluto's been dispelled from the mix. Pluto's no. Poor Pluto. Think about it. Could you imagine being part of the planets for that long and then some scientist came along and said, "No, I don't like Pluto. Get her off the table."
She's not big enough.
She's not big enough. Size queen. Some people are real size queens in this world. Pluto is about transformation.
I love that.
So Pluto, and it's given to us here, which is still a planet in astrology. So not from NASA's point of view, they don't really look at it as a planet, but because it's like what is it, a collection? They said it's like a collection of stars or something. Am I wrong about that? Do I know
last
science?
I heard it was a dwarf planet, but I'm not intelligent in that area.
I'm not either. Anyway, I'm gonna. Why do we try this? Why do we try and go sciencey?
Because it's worth an attempt, and
yeah.
We might be right.
That's a good way of putting it. So Pluto, which is still a planet in astrology, is the most intense, powerful, and transformational planet.
Nice.
Everyone has an opinion, and while you're curious about a lot of things, it's also important to discern where your information is coming from. Then you can draw your own informed conclusions. If something doesn't feel right to you, you might want to learn more about it rather than take it at face value.
So
Yeah.
are you a Sagittarius in this? Just before we.
Yes, I am a Sagittarius. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
So we're
I'm
both
so
also
fixated.
Sagittarians in this one.
Love that.
I was like, oh, he's continuing to talk, and we've not.
I completely forgot that we were actually saying which we were. I was just so focused on Pluto and whether or not it was a planet. But
Yeah, no, well, it says here for Sagittarians, your greatest opportunities for growth and transformation come from integrating diverse perspectives from the world into your own, from around the world into your own life. Which, yeah, I mean,
hell
we have
yeah.
access to social media.
We have access to the internet. Like we're able to learn so much. We've had discussions about this before where we talk about how much information is more readily available for us to access and why it is that that's why as people we are so strong in our beliefs because we've been given the information more so than just like previous generations. They don't have the same, like they have the same access now, but a lot of them didn't
Mhm.
and wouldn't have had it in their lifetime, and they could only go off of like their day-to-day life experiences.
Yeah, and I'm like, in your formative years, like that's something that's super important because if you're just going on, like thinking about like the beliefs and stuff that we hold and we like fight for,
Yeah.
like I don't know if there wasn't the internet, I don't know if I would have had the education required to
Yeah.
let me have the beliefs that I do now.
Thank the internet. Internet has done a lot for us, even though it's shit sometimes. It really does. It does more than it's. It carries more weight than it probably should sometimes, but it's because it does so much and it did so much for us to form who we are. So, travel and education could become lifelong hobbies and passions for you. Important people in your life may come from different cultural or religious backgrounds. The more broad minded and inquisitive you can be without becoming judgmental, the more your own wisdom can be shared with the world, is what it's saying.
I like that.
I do too.
That's nice. I don't think that's like particularly person specific. I think that's just a nice little.
So we're now at the finale of our little profile, the astrological profile.
Mhm.
Please tell me what your little paragraph says as it sums up.
Okay, so it says, Erin, my astrological profile. And then there's a little sentence or two underneath here where it says,
Hmm.
you thrive on excitement and determination, which inspires others. A natural adapter, you know how to have fun and succeed in new situations. And then it has like a
Hmm.
bunch of like statistics stuff underneath. Well, I say a bunch, there's three. Um
That's a bunch.
so like there are three categories. So the top one is elements. So it'll like I think it'll probably just like adjust to show you like your leading elements or
Yeah,
different
it's the leading
sections.
elements from what signs you were depicted as for each planet. So because
Yeah.
they all have like
So
earth, air, and fire, whatever signs.
yeah, so my leading element is fire at 36%, which says
Hmm.
I'm passionate. And then almost equal to that, I have air. And then water is the next one underneath that. And then like a little tiny bit of earth, which is why I
Hmm.
think it's weird about the whole grounded situation. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have modality, which Kieran has informed me is to do with like how adaptable you are in situations.
I believe so.
Like, yeah.
I'm fully willing to be told I'm wrong, but I believe it
Based
is
on
just
what's
about that.
here,
Hmm.
so it says I'm 50% mutable, which means I'm an adapter. And then
Yes.
there's one next to it that says cardinal, which I mean we should probably just Google because I don't really know
Yeah. I
what cardinal
mean,
means.
I
And then
want to know
I'm
what it
like
means in this context.
because my smallest one is fixed. So I think the whole vibe is that I'm quite like open and flexible to things.
So I've just done just a little quick Google here. So cardinal is apparently there's like four cardinal signs of the zodiac, which is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, and they're
Mhm.
sometimes called the reacting signs. Um, It's
Oh,
basically just saying when something's described as cardinal, it like signifies that it's both fundamental and important. And that's definitely the case apparently for these four cardinal signs, which are the indicators of the zodiac. I've read that, but I'm not going to be honest with you. That's not fully like made
I
sense in
don't.
my
I
brain.
just. I mean, look, it makes sense in its own thing, but I don't really
Hmm.
understand its role here. But
It's not our main run, so we don't have to worry about it. It's just a
I
little
mean,
part of
it's not
us.
my main thing.
Hmm.
Um, and then my bottom one is, well, everyone's bottom one is polarity,
Hmm.
and which means you're like yin or yang. So like yang being active and yin being passive. It's the same as like when
Hmm.
you go to a yoga flow.
Yeah.
If you go to a yin flow, it's the sort of slow poses, and yang being your more active and engaged ones. And
Hmm.
I am hilariously 69% yang. Gotta get that yang.
Gotta get that
Um,
69 in there.
so I'm an active, passionate, adaptive person.
I love
Love
it.
that for me.
I do love
Yeah.
that for you. Going off of my profile, I have the same first sentence that says, I thrive on excitement and determination, which inspires others. Mine says, one of a kind, you have strong preferences and a unique point of view. Don't we all, though?
I would
Anyway,
agree.
yeah. Um, Going into my like element, so I am my like heaviest sign is at 46%, which is fire, which is for passion. I've got almost an equal amount, like maybe just I want to say it looks about like 30 something percent water, and then my earth and air sign both have the exact same size, so I apparently have the least like grounded and flighty. For modality, I'm actually 54% fixed, which it means I'm apparently a stabilizer. I am exactly what you put on your roller skates and what you put on your bike. I'm trying to keep you afloat. And then I've got Cardinal next and then Mutable last. So I would agree to an extent. I think I'm adaptable, but I'm adaptable enough that I can keep going in life. But I don't love adapting. Like, if you were to like put me in an environment where I think I had to adapt on the daily, I don't think I could thrive or succeed too
But
well.
then, like, I think you're like very much like yourself. Like, you have a very strong sense of self. Whereas, like, I think I
Hmm.
have like different. Like, I think the adaptive sort of means almost in a way like I have more versions of myself that I use in different
Okay.
situations. So
Hmm.
like I do have my like this is my close friends and this is my
Hmm.
professional voice and this is my
Right.
telephone voice and like
Yeah.
which everyone does have, but I think I just have quite a strong
You lean into them a little bit more. I do know
yeah.
that because I mean whenever we've been working together, I do know like what your customer service approach to
Mhm.
things are. And I would say that yeah, it's a little different, but not in like a like, different is not a negative word. I would love to disclaim that for just the world to know because if I don't say it, how are they gonna know, Aaron? How are they gonna
Mhm.
know? But being different, like is a good thing and a bad thing. It's everything. Life is
It's a neutral
balance.
thing.
It's a neutral. And then lastly, for polarity, I'm a 54% yang, so I'm pretty close to being balanced between both
I like
active
that.
and
That's
passive.
a little a goal. I think we should all try and be more like that. It makes me
Mm.
think of did you ever have the Wii Fit board?
Yes.
When you would have to try and get like your point of like your center of gravity point on the little cross.
I was
That's all that
usually
this has
really
made
good
me
at
think
that.
of.
I
I
mean,
wasn't, which is probably like
I do find it funny
evidence.
that we're saying we should all try to be more like that while looking at the astrological profiles that have been determined from birth. We should all try and change our percentages, guys. Come on, just go back and be born different. I've had
Oh
such a
dear.
fun time going into the astrology side of things because to sort of conclude what I feel about astrology, it's helpful and a hindrance, but that's life. Everything can be good and bad depending on how you perceive it. I choose to
Yeah,
perceive
I mean,
astrology as just a nice thing to partake in. It's a nice thing to discuss with others, and it's a good way to try and get in touch with what your emotions are at the core. Because I think some people just don't really touch on their emotions and they don't really get down there and figure out what's going on inside. And then when they have like situations spring upon them where they're not feeling their best and they can't figure out why, it's because You have not been reading your astrology.
Yeah,
Your
but I think it's
horoscope.
also like whether you agree with it or not. Like it is what it is, and if you take it at
Yeah.
at that value, you know, you're not going to make any big life choices based on it. But whether you agree with what it says about you or not, you're learning more about yourself. Because if you read something and go, no, I don't agree that that's me,
You just
then
learn
have like a
something.
greater perception of like what you think you are.
Yes.
So like it's a bit of self-care, it's a bit of fun. You know, I understand why people don't agree with it. But equally I enjoy it. It's a bit fun.
It's
It's the
very fun.
chocolate of the spiritual world, the chocolate and cake. Let me indulge. Let me live a life of luxury.
Yeah.
It's the
just for now.
Ferrero Rocher for the soul.
And we all love a Ferrero Rocher.
I mean, unless you have a nut allergy, then don't. But
I think that we'd all recommend maybe giving this little feature a try. If you, most people have Snapchat. It'll take
let us
2
know how
minutes
you
to
get
read
on.
over. Yeah, please do, because it's all fun and games us talking about it, but it's whether you're deciding that you're enthused enough to go forth and do it yourself.
Yeah, you should be able to find us on the social medias.
On the social medias. It'll be in the description. We would like to thank everyone for listening with us today.
Yeah, thank you for listening to the It's Not Always Dark podcast. We have been the wonderful Kieran.
And the okay Erin.
Mediocre. 69% yang.
69%. Thank you. Good night.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Kisses. TTYL.